Hello, my paint pouring family. Monday Madness Modified Blooms. I did a large one for me and I didn't modify it other than my initial cuts. But I said I would do another one, a smaller tile, and I will modify it like mad for you guys. So here we go. I'm going to use the same base that I used for my last piece. It was quite thin and it was a little lumpy. So we're just going to pour it through a strainer, collect some of those goppy pieces so that it doesn't land in our pour. And we're going to go from there. So this is Felspar Contractor's Grade White mixed about 50-50 with I believe it's Deco Art Suede. I've used it for quite a few pieces now. I really like it. I love the textured effect. I wish there was an easy way to show you, but it's it looks like suede. It's all granularly. It's quite nice and it dries really cool. And then because our acrylics are usually gloss or semi-gloss, the suede dries matte and then the acrylic dries with a gloss. So it's kind of a neat, just a dual effect. If you don't want to put a varnish on it or resin, if you want to put resin on it, it's going to be equally as beautiful. Okay, here we go, my friends. Here we go. Let's do some zippy colors. This is mustard yellow, kind of a little bit thick, but let's make it work. Let's just add some polyacrylic to it. So I thin all my paints. I might as well talk about it while I'm doing it. I thin all my paints, you guys, with just a mixture of polyacrylic and water. That's it. Water has no binder. Oh goodness. Water has no binder. So the thinner we make it, the less binding the paint has and the less it will stick to your canvas, to your other paints or whatever. So you know what? Polyacrylic and water works. Glue and water works. This just happens to be polyacrylic. So here we go. Mustard yellow. I'm on an earthy tone kick right now. Why, I don't know, but let's just mix this up. This is a bronze. This is the Deco Art bronze, kind of a weird texture. It works, you just have to mix it like mad. A little bit of olive green. I just did my whole last pour with no green, you guys. You should be so proud of me. No green in it. A little bit of some kind of goo right there. So let's get rid of that goo before we do anything any farther. And a little bit of FX Gold. That's not EFX, it's FX as in FX. It's called Mutant Shift. I bought 3 colors. I think I've said it in all 3 videos now. This is ultraviolet. That was gold. Works well. Funny consistency. Have to kind of muck around with it until you get it so that it works. But it does work. Nice pigments. Weird consistency. Beautiful wind dry. This is the same Mutant FX. This is a turquoisey blue. They're almost exactly the same as the Folk Arc Shift. This is a combination of Payne's Gray with a tiny smidge of black in it for a little bit of contrast, a little bit of interference violet. It's going to go on creamy white. It's going to dry, leaving kind of a purpley pink hue behind. I put a little bit more blue just because I got a little carried away. And maybe a little bit more yellow, not yellow, gold. Okay. White satin enamel mixed with Amsterdam titanium white. Little blob in the middle. A little bit of black cell mix. Maybe a little bit more. See if we can hide a bit of that white. Okay, you guys, mind my head. Let's just smoosh this around a tiny bit. Smoosh is another technical term, if you're wondering. Mind my head. We're going to blow this out. Give it a bit of a blast of fire, pop a few of these wee tiny bubbles, and let's go for it, you guys. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna give this a second. Let your painter catch her breath. Let the center pop back up. Find our modifying tool. Here it goes. This is your white satin enamel, you guys. It makes these funky little two-toned cells. It's hard to see, but all these little cells in here are gold with a white circle around them. Very cool. Very cool stuff. Okay, I'm gonna blow it a little bit more. And again, we're gonna let our center pop back up. Let all those beautiful cells develop. And then we're gonna modify the bloom, you guys. We're gonna do some modifications now. We're gonna do maybe some during, and I promise I'll do some later. Even if I absolutely love the piece, I'm going to modify it because I said I would. So let's start. Sometimes I was mentioning last night, sometimes I get in these weird headspaces where I kind of feel the modifications look a little bit childish. And I know it's just me. I know it sets me apart from everybody else. I know all of those things. It's just the space that I get myself into. And so I think for the bigger pieces, maybe less is more for me right now. But I'm super happy modifying and showing you guys how I modify. And I'm super happy doing smaller pieces like the tiles because I think it's beautiful once it's done. I'm not super happy with the big modified pieces. Sometimes my head just says less is more. I don't know, sometimes I think maybe I just have to grow up. It's hard to say. Now, I can see a goopy bit. Well, let's see if I can get it. I was hoping to get it in the white so that I could remove the goopy bit, but I can't seem to. It's right there. I don't know if I got it or not. I'll try to. You see little bits like that. Don't be afraid to take them out, you guys. You know, it changed. It's just another little modification. Nobody will even know once it's done that you were trying to remove a goofy bit. Okay, let's help it off this corner. Woo! I'm going to try to wiggle this right up. Look at those white cells right there. Deco Art, white satin enamel. Beautiful. I'm going to add a little tiny bit more paint to my edges because I don't want to tip a whole bunch more off. We're just going to help this off a tiny bit without hopefully losing a lot of our composition and a lot of our colors, although we have a lot more paint that we can dump. So let's start on this corner and take that off. See how much easier it slides? I know it looks like a huge waste of paint, but you know what? I generally scoop up the paint on my plastic sheets, which is why I put plastic sheets down. I scoop up the paint, I collect it into a cup. It often makes one of the gray bases that you'll see me paint with. That's usually what it is. It's just the drippings from something else. 90% of the time, it's gray. And if not, you know what? You can add a little bit. You can add to it. Easy. Not as much wastage as it looks. All right, off that corner. Okay, so if it was left up to me and I hadn't been yapping off, I wouldn't modify it. But I said I was going to, and I like to try to keep my promises, so I'm going to. Okay, guys, here we go. Let's do this. Here's our kebab stick. We're just gonna go in and make some little detailed lines. We don't have to go crazy. You know, sometimes less is more, and sometimes it doesn't have to be as whimsical as I do it. Sometimes it can have a little bit more of a grown-up feel, still be beautiful, still be modified, but not be right over the top. That's my technical theory. Okay, here we go. Ball end of our kebab stick. And we're just gonna go between these dark lines. It just pinches them together and it makes what I'm calling a chain. You guys can call it whatever you want. I don't have a term for it, so it's chain. And again, it just adds little bits of visual interest to your piece. You know what? Make it your own. Be creative, guys. Don't be afraid to like go in, modify it, adapt it, make squiggles, make lines, make circles. You know what? I did a piece the other night and unfortunately I dropped it. When it was done, I took my ruler and went all the way down it and it made all these funky little like stained glass lines, like leaded windows. It was quite pretty. And I'll do another one, but yeah, you can do whatever you want. Same as this. You know what? I take it in somewhere in here and just put your skewer down, give it a turn, and gently lift it up while twisting. Makes these funky twists. Twist it to the left, twist it to the right. Again, nothing more than visual interest. Don't push it all the way down if you can avoid it. Kind of float it above your tile so that you're lifting and pulling the paint. Little details, you guys, that's all we're doing. Just little details. Let's make some more little wiggly things here. The other thing you can do, and I've done it, and I had a green piece that you guys really seem to enjoy, is take a little bit of silicone on a toothpick and just dot it on. A little bit though, a little goes a long way, and your silicone will move your paint all over the place. So that's it. That's how we just give these pieces these little scalloped edges. Again, it's not necessary, but because I called this a modified bloom, it really needs to be modified. And you know what? It's pretty. They're pretty little details. And they just make it just something a little different than everybody else. So that's it, you guys. I'm going to turn off the overhead light. And I'm going to bring you down. Hopefully I lost a little bit of glare. I'm going to say thank you very much to everybody. Look at that, you guys. One modified bloom pour. So you got to see these little details. While they're wet, they'll dry slightly different. That's all our little skewer marks. There's our chain. There's our beautiful cells from our white satin enamel. More little skewer marks. And that's it, you guys. It's as easy as that. So thanks very much, you guys. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for supporting my channel, reaching out, asking questions. You guys are awesome. It's only paint. You all got this. Get your consistencies right, and the rest is easy peasy, you guys. Thanks for pouring. Have a good evening. Bye for now.